I'm Delphine, the person behind Just Patterns, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to address with you a question that I get by people who also think about starting their own pattern brand. And the question is, should I use Adobe Illustrator to draft home sewing patterns? I wrote a whole blog post about this, and you can find it, the link to it in the description. But I also wanted to give you the short answer, and for me, the short answer is no. You shouldn't. If you are serious about wanting to release patterns efficiently in a way that you can actually hopefully at some point make a living or a partial living out of, and you are willing to learn of software, so I'm going to assume that you're not already an Adobe Illustrator whiz, you should really invest your time in a software that can help you in the long run, and that would be a CAD software specialized for pattern making, pattern drafting. So the software I'm going to show you today is Pad System. There are quite a few tutorials on YouTube that you can find on how to use Pad System. It's one of the most affordable tools with the whole range of embedded functions that you can find out there. So I highly recommend it. It has its limitation, it has its glitches, but I think it really works really well for the needs of independent home sewing pattern makers. This is not going to be a tutorial. This is just a demonstration of how quickly you can get things done in Pad, and why I strongly recommend that you invest some time in learning a tool like Pad. It could be Clo 3D, it could be any other that matches your budget, rather than trying to draft, grade, add seam allowances, do pattern variation, all of that in Illustrator. So today for you, I'm going to be using my favorite drafting method, which is Moller & Son. It's a German pattern making. Their books are available as ebooks in English. I'm going to be using their draft for a simple skirt block, and just to show you how quickly it goes, how quickly you can grade, and how quickly you can turn it into pattern pieces. So I hope this is helpful, and do not hesitate to let me know what you think in the comments. So let's get started. This is the standard working area of Pad System. I'm going to be doing a basic skirt block for a size 40. And so European 40, that would be a waist of 76 centimeters plus 2 centimeters of ease, a hip of 100 centimeters plus 4 centimeters of ease, a hip depth of 22 centimeters, a total finished length of, let's say, 62 centimeters, just to simplify. So let's do our block. 62 centimeters at center back and center front. We have our bottom, that is quarter of the hip plus ease, 26 centimeters. The waist, 26 centimeters also, that we're going to decrease after. I'm going to be adding my hip depth, 22 centimeters. And I can already do my side seam between the hip level and the hem here. I can bring my waist up 1 centimeter at the side seam, because there's this little curve. I can bring it in 4 centimeters to start the reduction between hip and waist. I can draw the side seam, and I can curve it nice, and I would assume that you would refine that curve when you do your fitting. So then I can also develop the waist. I would remove now all the lines I don't need, and I would curve that waist nicely, also to be refined when sampling. Then I would add the locations for my darts. So I would put the back one in the middle, and this one would be 15 centimeters long. I would make it 3 centimeters deep, so 1.5 on each side of the center. And I would draw the legs between these points. I would remove the elements I don't need, again, just for clarity. And I would add this one now would be what would correspond to the front dart. So it would be maybe 7 centimeters from the side seam. I would drop it by 10 centimeters total length of the dart. The width would be 2 centimeters total, so 1 centimeter on each side of the center. One centimeter. I would draw the legs. Here we are. I remove the lines we don't need. The inside of the dart. And now I'm going to show you already how I would grade. Everything is going to be developed from that block. So if I grade that block, I don't need to develop my grading several times. So to grade, I will need to do a grading nest. So as I said, this is our size 40. Now I will show you how I would do, for just patterns, I would go down to a 34. That would be my first size range from 34 to 46. That grades 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters. And then I would do my second size range that goes up to a size 60, and that grades 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters. That has an implication, of course, on your grade rules. So I like to grade my darts always the same for all the sizes, so about 5 millimeters. And if I show you the grade view, you will see better what I mean. So now you see that basically in one click, all the darts are graded properly. And I would now grade the side seam. And this one, I like to grade by 1 centimeter for the 34 to 46 size range, and then 1.5 centimeters for the 46 to 60 size range. So that basically you see that this is already graded. Based on that, I will now remove the grade view, and I can do a couple of things. I can add dart characteristics to this work. Basically, I want to add the dart characteristics with the dart tools. So to tell it, okay, this is a dart. And it's a dart that I want already to be marked by notches and by a punch hole at the bottom. And I can control also the dimensions of it. Now my software is going to know that this is a dart, and that gives me also opportunities to transform it in the future into different things. And now we'll do the second dart. We can control it. We can put it notches, the punch hole, and we have our first block. So I'm going to create a block for the front and a block for the back. So the first thing I'm going to do is a plan clone for my front. And I'm going to be removing, see if I said this is the front, so we're going to be removing the back dart in this case. So up, I remove the back dart, here it is. Now we have a very nice front, and we're going to do a different plan clone for the back. And here it is. So now I'm going to take my back piece. I'm going to use the symmetry tool. And here is my back, and because this is the back, I remove what I consider to be the front dart, and now we have a front and a back, and they are both already graded. As you can see now, it's a bit busy because we're grading on a fairly large size range. Starting from that, I would now develop the waistband, and I want it to be 2 centimeters for instance, a very simple straight waistband. So I would basically measure how much I have here, and it's 20.6. So I would copy that dimension for the size 40. I would do a rectangle that is already 2 centimeters, and the height would be the length of my waist. I would also measure this one. This one would be 19. I now do the same thing, a rectangle that is 2, and the dimension of the back. And now I could actually bring these two things together. So that creates only one waistband. And for instance, if I want to have notches where I have my side seam, I can already have my notches here. And let's say that you want this waistband to just be a simple folded waistband. You can also already create this symmetry tool. There it is. So now we have, let's say, our full waistband. The waistband we have not graded yet. So at the top we have our center front. We know that the side seam moves 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter for our first size range, and 1.5 for the second. I will put back the grade view. And the back, of course, now we need to double that. So that would be 2 centimeters and 3 for the second size range. And basically now you have all your pattern pieces, and they are ready to be made into finished pattern pieces. And for that, I would transform them into proper pieces. So here we are. This is piece number 1. As you can see, I have now my grain lines. Piece number 2. And my waistband, which I had not given any name to it, but we will now. Okay. And we have our waistband and the center front and everything. So if I was finishing it up now, because I want to sew it, I would remove my grade view and I would just very, very quickly add my seam allowances. Add seam allowances with the seam allowance tool. So I would add 1 centimeter, so 1 centimeter for the side seam. I like to add a lot of notches because I vary my seam allowances a lot. My hem would be 4 centimeters. At waist, I would add maybe 1 centimeter to attach to the waistband. At the center back, 1.5 to give you a little bit of room for adjustment. I also like to have notches for the center back. I like to have notches at the side seam for my hem allowance. And I just need to add the seam allowance for the waistband. That's it, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, and we said, okay, let's say we're gonna zip the invisible zipper all the way up, so we're gonna do also 1.5 centimeter at the center back. And that's it, you have it. 3 pattern pieces already ready, graded, with seam allowances that you can adjust within minutes. And what I want to show you now is, for instance, let's say I want a much longer skirt. I want the skirt to be 10 centimeters longer. I can add these 10 centimeters and all your pattern pieces are already moving. Let's say I want my hip curve to be different, maybe a little bit lower, like this. All the hip lines are moving at the same time, not only here, but also in the grade view. So you maintain the grade, you maintain your drafting, you have the front and the back that are following each other, and it's an efficient way of working. I suggest you keep Adobe Illustrator or a similar tool for what we do in terms of prettying up the pattern. So when we change the lines, when we add our labels, our little logo, and that's when Adobe Illustrator is an interesting tool. But for all the pattern drafting and grading, I really recommend using a specialized tool. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know if you have questions in the comments.